Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Ablaz from Nachtblut. And before I continue, did I pronounce it correct? Please help me out with this.
Yeah, it's all good. Ablaz is good. Also, your pronunciation and all your German words is very good. So.
I think you're being very kind.
Yeah. Wait for it. No, but honestly, Ablaz is correct as well as Nachtblut.
The new album, Vanitas, comes out October 2nd on Napalm Records, which for us, because we're chatting today, that happens tomorrow, right around the corner. And how was for you, how you look at the creative process in putting this record together?
Actually, we created the whole album before all the COVID stuff started. So it has been at the end of 2019. And you create some music, you create stuff. And once you're finished, you want to publish it. You want to go out on stage and show your new stuff, your new songs. And yeah, the last weeks, last months, it was not possible. So I'm really, really looking forward for this release tomorrow.
The anticipation is flying high for you guys. And knowing that you have a new album and you can go on the road, you can play shows, what's the best way that you have right now to promote this record?
We created a lot of music videos, so we had 4 singles until now, and that's actually how it goes because we can't go on stage for now. We can't do any live shows, but especially for this record, there's a lot of international appearance at this point, and that's very good for us so far.
I want to get into the record because I really enjoyed this album. On my review, I said that you guys created a record that has 11 singles, and it's true. And I don't mean that from a perspective of all songs being completely different. And no, the album works well as a whole, but the quality of the tracks is really consistent across every single song on the album. Now, as far as the diversity of the record, do you feel like that's a strength for how the whole album sounds, being so diverse from song to song?
Yes, indeed. Because especially we all came from the black or death metal scene. And if you're talking about true black metal, it's like you're not allowed to use keyboards, you're not allowed to do this. There are rules, there are borders. And that's something we don't like in your music. Because at first, we don't care if you're allowed to do this or not. Because if we want to do it, we do it. And sometimes we're just going like, hey, I want a really heavy song because this topic really fucks me off. I need it to be aggressive, even more aggressive than before. And then we just do it. So that's how it comes with all the diversity. Sometimes you have these angry songs full of power. And on the other hand, you have these really slow, sad songs. And if you combine that still with a typical Nachtblut style, which comes through the sound of the guitars, the bass, and especially the vocals for sure, you get an album like this.
Is that the secret though? Because I felt the album was very diverse, but it was really connected at the same time. I mean, I call it the atmosphere. I felt that the atmosphere of the record is what kept the whole album together. It was a Nachtblut album, and you guys pushed each song in a different direction. Do you think it's the atmosphere that you guys create that holds it together, or there's maybe a specific key element that holds the album together?
Actually, it's both, because the key element is our sound. I always say, when you record a song and you just hear the first 15 or 20 seconds, you have to recognize the band, even if there are no vocals on it, but you still got it because the mood or the rhythm. So that's what it makes special. And to have the whole construct of the album, a good album has to be a roller coaster ride. So there has to be downs and ups. You have to be sad. You have to be angry. And even if it's black metal or dark metal, you always can have fun on something like a song like that. And that's what it makes special. And if you start the album, you don't want to stop. That's our goal or aim, actually, for the whole album.
I felt one of the album definitely does that. It really gives you that roller coaster ride. It changes. You guys did a magnificent job alternating tracks as well. The track listing on the record is phenomenal because it really gives you that sequence of moving up, coming down, going back up again, coming down. And I felt that one of the elements throughout the record that really made the album even bigger as far as the sound and presence was perhaps the orchestration. What's your take on it, and how impactful do you feel that element is on the overall result of the record?
It actually is really, really important because you can have just a guitar sound, then you maybe sound like a typical rock band. But to make it huge, I mean, you can reach 99% without a big orchestration. But this last 1% is so important for the whole volume, for the whole atmosphere. I mean, sometimes on some parts, there are some orchestrations you don't even hear.
Yeah.
But you just feel them because suddenly the songs become so sad or so powerful, and that's what it makes special.
I 100%. Honestly felt that, and I want to mention this to you guys because I feel like we're living in an age now where a lot of bands rely on that orchestration on the keyboards to make their sound bigger. But then what happens is they use it on every single song and almost becomes the main thing that you hear when you play the record. And then every song sounds the same, and then every album that you hear starts to sound the same. And I want to congratulate you guys because on this album, I felt that you guys used them, but you didn't abuse them. Because some songs, they're there, but you could almost not even hear them being there. And that allows the tracks to be different and still have that same element. Was that a conscious effort that you guys wanted to have them, but not overly use them on every single song?
Actually, that's a good point, like using it, but not abusing it, yeah. And also one thing you said, nowadays, many bands have the chance to use orchestrations because you can just program it on your computer. For me, it's sometimes if I hear, especially new bands, I know which kind of synthesizer they're using right now because I recognize the sounds. You can't make your own sound very special if you use something everybody does.
Yeah, it becomes hard for you to tell the forest from the trees. Do you know what I mean? Like everything kind of just, you're starting to sound like every other band. And at the end of the day, you have to create your own sound and your own signature approach. And if you start doing what everybody else is doing, then you're just, what's the difference between listening to band A and listening to band B?
Yeah, that's what it's about. But that's the thing about band genres. I mean, especially at the beginning, everybody told us, hey, this is a Rammstein riff. If you sound like Rammstein, you're not allowed to scream. You have to just use this typical Neue Deutsche Härte voice, so this deep German vocals. And we're just like, yeah, but we don't want to. So, on the other hand, the black metal scene or the extreme metal scene just said, okay, you can't use Rammstein riff in a black metal song. And we said, why not? So what is it about? Yeah. And actually, we just continued in what we loved, and luckily, it turned out to be a good idea.
Yeah, I think it starts to put too many boundaries on your creativity, and then you're not being creative anymore.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about this album. If you listen to this record, you're going to find songs that are more gothic. You're going to find songs that are more industrial. You're going to find songs that have some folk elements, some symphonic elements. You have all of this mixture. Now, the question is, which one of those genres or styles is closer to your heart?
It depends. It's not only one style, to be honest. I mean, my favorite from this album actually is Meine Grausamkeit kennt keine Grenzen, because I really needed a really hard and fast song, really powerful, really aggressive, because especially when I go on stage, I love just going crazy. And so that's my absolute favorite so far. We just recorded the video a few weeks ago, and I love doing that. And also last weekend, we played the song live for the very first time and the only time this year. And I just hit the first notes of the song, and I was just like, now we're going crazy.
I love it. This being your 6th album, did you feel like this record offered you new challenges or new difficulties? Was there a new experience for you creating this album?
To be honest, actually, no. On our last album, Apostasy, we also tried to do the same thing, like find different topics, mix them together, and it worked out really, really well because you reach more people with it as well. So it's the same thing I said before. Even people who don't like such extreme music are listening to this album because they think, oh, this song is nice, and then they get into the music, get into the topics, and so you stick them all together. And for us as well, that's why I said I can't decide for one topic, because at some point I need something powerful, and the next time I like to have something to have a good party vibe on stage. Like Frauenausbeiner from the album Apostasy is a very, very special song for that, because it got this AC/DC vibe. And when I'm on stage and it starts with this really, really dirty guitar and bass line, I just got the feeling I'm playing AC/DC right now.
Well, you guys would be a very different looking AC/DC.
Yeah. Also, a drive or guitar player would look really funny in a school uniform. But
You know what? I would love to see you guys in school uniforms. I think that would be absolutely hilarious.
Yes. No, you won't.
When I was listening to this album, starting off with Veritas and Vanitas, my first thought was, why did you guys break these two tracks apart? You have the intro and then you have Vanitas, because I felt that they were just one song.
Yeah, actually, you're right. It was one song from the very beginning. On a CD, it could be one song for sure, but actually, it's just a sales marketing reason for it. Because if you go online, if you're listening on Spotify, if you're on a playlist, nobody listens to a 8-minute song with a 4-minute intro. So that's why we just cut it off, and then we just did it from Veritas and Vanitas.
Yeah, it's a shame though, because I really feel like that song, when you listen to the two of them in sequence, it gives the song this much bigger, almost cinematic like impact that starts off the album in such a big, bombastic kind of way. You know, you can almost picture the pyro and all of this stuff. It just makes the song so big when you have them together. And I understand the reasons why that you just explained. It makes sense to me. But I really feel like for you to get the full essence of this track, you really have to listen to the two of them together.
Yeah, that's right.
One of my favorite songs on the album, I'm going to butcher the name, so I want to apologize for that in advance. So
you try to speak it out, and I see if I recognize the song. Okay.
So let me get my I'm 2% German on my ancestry DNA, so let me try to get my 2% German to come to the forefront. Is Gegen die Götter?
Gegen die Götter, yes.
Okay, all right. So that was absolutely my favorite song on the album. It blew me away. My mind was like exploded when I was listening to that track. And in an album that, like I said before, has 11 singles, that one, in my opinion, just reigns supreme. So 2 questions for you. One is, why not a single for this song? And 2, how was the process of creating this track?
The first point, actually, when we decided whose songs are going to be single or not a single, we had a lot of discussions about that, because we had the same problem. Many people like this song, many people like that song. And in the end, we decided about what can we do on a video way, because especially all lyrics are German. So a lot of people don't understand them from the beginning without a translator. But there were some other songs like Das Puppenhaus or very first single. You can see the video and you got the meaning without understanding any word. So, and this is very important for us. For which songs can you use for a video and make a really huge, good video where also the message comes through? And for Gegen die Götter, it would be quite hard to do it in a way that you understand the whole message, the whole meaning of the song, because it's very, very bright within, or very, very wide within its whole meaning. And
how was it the process to putting that song together? Because I mean, it's still like I said, my favorite track on the record.
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting it together. Actually, we just had the instrumental part first before we had any of these lyrics, and we just thought, okay, it's just got this like this. It's like a hymn, like this big rhythm, and it sounds so wide. And especially the part where we get in with this acoustic guitar and always repeat this main phrase of the song, which is "Du und ich gegen die Götter," which means you and me against the gods. So it's a statement, but it's also something you want to react from the person. If I say you and me, it's like, do it, let's do it. And you can repeat it. And in my opinion, this message got stronger every time we repeat it. And you know the song, we repeat it very often.
Yeah, you do. But that's what makes the song so great, because it almost has this pop vibe to it, because you repeat it often. The line is really easy to remember. So regardless if you speak German or not, you're going to hear that so often that you're going to be singing along yourself with it. And it makes the song so hooky and so catchy. It's an absolute earworm.
Yeah. We also think we're looking forward to play this song live as well, because of the same fact you just said. It must be a really, really good atmosphere live if the people are screaming with you. You know? It's not you and me, it's you and me against it.
Yeah, the audience and you guys.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting what you mentioned about the German and trying to pick singles where the video can paint the picture of what the song is about, so you could reach the audience that doesn't speak German. Is that always been a concern of you guys when you're putting the videos and the tracks together, or that has become easier now? The world is a bigger place, and speaking in German and having a full German album doesn't really matter as much as perhaps it did before.
Actually, there was a big change in that, because especially on some of the older songs, sometimes if you understand the lyrics completely, but the meaning is so deep inside these lyrics, and because there are some songs where the meaning is completely different, like a negative. Like Askerot, the singer, is singing from the perspective of a person we are against. So if you read the lyrics for the very first time, you think, oh, that's kind of strange. And you have to think about, oh, they are not talking about that topic. It's actually a criticism on this kind of song.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. I have one last question for you. If somebody asked you to describe this album in a few words, what words would you use to describe this new record?
Dark, brutal, and deep.
I think that describes it pretty well. I was going to add one more, diverse, because I think there's a lot of great diversity on this record.
Yeah, if you knew the record before, diversity is a good point. If somebody else would explain me one album with the word diversity, I would not know if it's a positive or negative statement, you know, because sometimes it can be good on an album, but otherwise, if a band does not find their own style, they're so diverse that they can't even find their own style, then it's a negative word. That's why I would probably not use it to describe the album. But I know from you to think it's positive, so yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's a positive thing on this record, because you guys, we've mentioned this before, you're able to create a diverse record, but still have the band's DNA in the album. So I honestly think in this case is a positive, but I get what you're saying. Most often than not, that variety sometimes becomes a negative, because you don't feel that the band's fingerprint is on the record, because each song is a different song. So it feels like 11 tracks made by 11 different bands.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with the release, October 2nd on Napalm Records. The album is out, Vanitas, Nachtblut. I hope I pronounced it correctly. I've been trying. I've been doing my best. I've been trying. But all the best for you guys with this release. I really hope that everybody goes and picks it up. It's a magnificent record.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.